Oops. How's that? Can you guys hear me now? Yeah, you can hear me now. We're going to start that over in just 1 second. As soon as I get confirmation in chat that you guys can actually hear me now. I think you can. Y'all Nats, how's it going, man? Good to see ya. Good to see ya. Bing bong. What's up, dude? You helped me make my own server. Appreciate your videos. That is awesome. That is exactly why I'm here and doing what I do. Perfect. Thank you, Exoidia. Exoidia. All right, perfect. All right, so what I was saying when my GoXLR was not responding was how many... Now, Canadians don't answer this question, but how many people other than Canadian viewers know that Canada celebrates Thanksgiving in October? I'm guessing not very many people know that. Anyway, so I just came back from a Thanksgiving trip, which we do every year. And typically we go to a camping situation. And this year we had to do something different because of the forest fires in the area that we would normally go. So, yeah, we went to a new place. It was super good. We had a really good time. We housed and fed, I think it was 11 people at the time. So we had big turkey dinner, big turkey fry, and it was absolutely spectacular. So I'm a little bit behind on my work here because I was actually gone for 4 days, and that I'm never away from my office for that long. So yeah, there you go. So now you know, now you're informed. Canadians do things just a little bit differently. Gotta get this guy going here too. Sorry, just bear with me. So BMG Jet, that is a great question. I do like that. And I want to say soon. Here's the thing. Oops, I don't know how to type my own name in YouTube. That's awesome. Here's the thing with that. I want to bring somebody else in to do that. So I have, like, I can show all of the back end stuff, and I can do, like, you know, the carbon profiler and stuff like that. And, oh, I think that's actually, is that what you're asking for? Is server performance profiling? Are you talking about the profiler built into carbon? But there's another video that I want to do, but like I said, I want to bring somebody else in to do it. That has a lot of experience. I'm thinking, like, I don't know, Lone comes to mind actually. Yeah, so I'd like somebody else to come in and do it. We'd, you know, work on things together. We'd, you know, make some changes over here, and we would check for the results over here and kind of see how things work out. So I don't know, I've kind of been throwing it around for quite some time, but just know that it's on the list, and I do want to do that. Civ would be a great person for that. That is a good point, actually. Thank you for that. So I just want to throw out a couple of recognitions, I think. I know that our American friends, some of them are having a really tough go. People in southern and central Florida. My heart is definitely going out to you guys. I watched very closely what was happening with Milton. And yeah, not to start things off on a Debbie Downer note, but I think it's important to recognize that we do have some friends out there that are struggling. They're having a rough go. And I wish I could do more. I wish I could do something to help them. I'm really far away from there. But and North Carolina, same thing. Hurricane Helene, that was no fun. And they're still recovering from that. And then on top of all of that, you guys, on November 5th, the Americans have what could be a very, I don't know, explosive. Well, that's a bad word to use for that. It could be a very, I don't know. I don't know what the word is. Oh, message deleted by Streamlabs. What the hell is that? I want to see what. Oh, you posted a link. Oh, that stupid thing. I'm going to shut that off. Just give me 1 second here. Oh, yeah. Oh, I thought I shut that off. It wasn't off. It's off now. You should be able to repost that same message, hopefully. Yeah, so anyways, yeah. So pretty exciting, interesting times coming up for my American friends, and I'm going to be watching closely. I don't know if anyone knows that, but I do follow that aspect of things. I don't talk about it in this. I don't talk about politics in this arena ever on purpose, but do know that I do keep a close eye on what's going on there. Yeah, T-Dub, that's, yeah, oof, I know. The mono profiler written by Supreme, that's a direct copy of Carbon's profiler, but I'm assuming, okay, I'm gonna see how this conversation goes, and we'll see what happens there. I do want to get into that though, so that is happening. I just have to find the right person that I want to get on stream to go over the ins and the outs and maybe teach everyone the benefits, the what's, the whys, the hows, all that stuff. Works on all Unity games. Okay. I'll check into that. I'll have a closer. I don't actually know what you're talking about. So let me look into that. Maybe you could send me some links in Discord or something like that so I can actually do a little bit of research on that. That would be super. Super duper. So how's everybody doing? What's new? Has everyone liked this stream yet? Make sure you're hitting like as you're coming into the stream. It helps me out a lot. We're currently at 8 entire likes out of 26 viewers. Come on, everybody. Help me out. Help me out. Luxon, what's up? Luxon? Sorry, I missed you earlier. I saw that up here. Oh, I think you said that before. Oh, no, that wasn't before. Never mind. Never mind. So bring me your questions. Let's talk. Let's see what y'all are struggling with or what's new. You can tell me what's going on in your life. I told you what's going on in my life. And yeah, what's everyone working on? Or even get a few people involved so we can get different perspectives. I'd be all for that, for sure. For sure. We get we could get like Rawl from Carbon. We could get somebody from oh, you guys can hear my cat squawking. He always knows when I go live. He wants to be in here meowing at you guys. When Rust Edit 2? I don't know that you would ever see a Rust Edit 2. I don't know if it would ever be labeled as such because Rust Edit is constantly being developed. So I don't really know that they would have come out with a version 2. We're at like version 10,000 right now of Rust Edit. It's leaps and bounds from where it started. Exoida, I am doing well, thank you. I appreciate that. Let the cat join right meow. So what happens is he comes in and he wants to sit right here. So like you would see my cat's face right here, like right in front of mine, and then he rubs his face all over my mic and It's just a disaster. Doesn't make for good TV. Do I ever just play vanilla Rust myself? I do. It has gotten less and less. I'll say that, but I do every now and then. Sometimes it's good to, I guess, just see how the other side lives. And like normally I play modded. I mean, it is heavily modded, but it's not like I only play on a 2x server. So, the difference between a 2x server, fairly modded, versus a vanilla server, the differences aren't that big. Wireless 67, no, I do not live in Calgary, but I do live in that area, we'll say. A profiler is useless for the average user. You have to know how to read it, and in order to do that, you need a general understanding of programming. That is a very valid point, Death. Thank you for that. And not knowing what this profiler is going to provide from what information standpoint, I can't even really speak to it. I have made use of the carbon profiler. I use that quite often, actually, more often than I thought I was going to. Looking for or watching for what different plugins are doing at different times. So if you combine the carbon profiler with your Grafana panel, you can actually decipher a ton of information about what's going on your server. So I do find that incredibly helpful. Any chance of a tutorial on Shopee stock plugin? I don't know what that means, but I don't mind saying out loud that I absolutely hate shop plugins. Hate them. Not the functionality of them so much as setting them up. What somebody needs to do is they need to come up with a way where you can put in a really quick couple of parameters for your economy, and it just generates a shop plugin. And then you could, of course, can go in and tweak things up a little bit after. But to get a good baseline would be super. Let's see. Razor, sounds good, man. Go get some rest. Feel better. Shopee stock. There we go. And yeah, I appreciate you stopping in to at least say that. And I hope you get some rest and don't feel like such an old man. So having a look at Shopee stock right now, looks like a lot of fun, actually. I'm loving what people are doing with UIs lately. Like, seriously, oh, we've got a stock market. We've got, that's cool. We can transfer things directly from inside the plugin. Okay, so how this works is, so the plugin that we're talking about is Shopee stock. It's on CodeFling. Written by the Pitarek, something like that. So how this works is it can go one of two ways. Either the developer will come to me and say, hey, do you want to do an expose on my plugin? And then we work out a deal. Or I reach out to the developer saying, hey, I really like what you're doing here. Would you like me to do some sort of an expose on your plugin? That's typically how it goes. And my favorite way of doing that is for them to just grant me access to the plugin. They don't pay me anything. I don't charge anything, whatever. I get to play around with it. I get to learn the ins and the outs of it. And then I get to go back to the developer and say, list off all my questions, my things that my average audience might run into while they're setting up the plugin so that I have the answers on hand. So that's how it normally goes, which is a really long form way of saying, if this author wants me to promote their product, they need to come to me, is basically what I'm getting down to. Just more questions to field on the Discord. What do you mean? More questions to field on the Discord. Yeah, I don't know what you mean. Perhaps what you mean is that I'm not there very often to answer questions, and there's a really good reason for that. And honestly, it comes down to the fact that Mabel is a rock star. I don't have to be in there because Mabel is there. And my other mods too, not to take anything away from them, but Mabel is a machine. Mabel might actually be AI. I don't know if Mabel's a real person because they seem to be on there all the time. Do you know anything about having multiple Grafana panels for multiple servers? As in, do you need to buy another host or can you use the same host? That's a question for Civ for sure. I do know that I have on my Grafana panel, I do have 2 servers on there. One of them is my test server that I did the video on, and the other one is my actual live server. But did I have to do 2 separate? No, I didn't have to do 2 separate hosts. So no. You just do 2 different configurations. You have the plugin running on 2 different servers, and it reports to 2 different panels. Have you or anyone else in chat come across Oxide plugins that do not work in Carbon? One example for me is Tommy Gunn's Payback plugin or Monumental Signs.cs. There are some plugins out there that do not work in Carbon. I would be surprised to find one that is like from UMod. I'd be surprised if you found one from UMod that didn't work on Carbon. But Tommy Gunn's Payback is very much not on any platform. It's only available directly from Tommy Gunn's. So I don't know if they're the hooks that it uses or whatever. I don't know if that would work on Carbon. I have no experience with that. I do have that plugin. I just haven't tested it on a Carbon server. I'm creating plugins. I hate in-game UIs. Do you think you would prefer web UI via Archon? I don't mind in-game UIs. I do hate HUDs. So I don't want to have something on my game screen all the time, but I don't mind bringing up a UI to interact with a plugin. And then, you know, Xing out of that and going back to regular gameplay. I hope that answers your question. Yeah, I can tell by looking at it that that shop plugin, Shoppy Stock, would be a pain in the butt. But I definitely do see the value I do see the value there. They do have a video on the doc page. I'll have to go through that and see if I can improve on the video that they've done. Most developers, they don't do any audio, they just do music or whatever. They don't talk about how to set things up and stuff like that. Yeah, so this is just music playing, no voice. It's not really a tutorial, but I do see them going through like the hows. Yeah, I honestly don't know. I'll go through that a little bit better offline. Oh, I got you. You were joking with this with death. I got you. I gotcha. Any free add-ons that help catch cheaters besides the basics like admin radar? Yeah, you can get into things like like Arcan is one. It definitely takes some setup. There's also Server Armor. I've used that in the past. Both of those are free plugins that will help. They're not a one-stop fix. You have to be really involved with it. You have to be able to look at the information that these plugins report to you and decide for yourself, okay, do I need to look into this person further, or was this a misfire, or yeah. But they're free. all hooks on oxide work on carbon, although there rarely are things, usually covalents, we omitted implementing that can be reported to us to fix so all is compatible. So there you go. So if you're finding something specific, i.e. the payback plugin, connect with Rawl in the Carbon Discord and see if you can't get it sorted out. They're really good. They're really responsive. When you bring them a problem, they generally hop on it as soon as they can. I mean, obviously they have real lives too. So it's not like they can just drop everything right on the spot. So reach out to Rawl in the Carbon Discord and see if you can't get it sorted out. I've seen tons of different situations where we get these one-offs or these side cases that don't work how they're supposed to with Carbon. Give it to Rawl. It's fixed within minutes, usually. Gallium is good, but it might be paid now. If you're a small server, use Arcan. Stash traps. I actually really enjoy that plugin. Automated stash traps. It's free. It's on UMod. Works really, really well. And it will alert you very quickly and easily if somebody's using ESP. Every time I join my server, I'm in vanish mode. How do I get out of that? That is an option built into the vanish plugin. There's actually a couple of different options. You can always, so what it's doing is when you log off, it's making you go into vanish. And there's also another feature in there that might put you under the map. So that if as an admin, if your base gets raided or whatever, your body's not going to be there. Yeah, stuck in vanish is something different. When you log in and you're in vanish, but you can immediately just get out of vanish, that's completely different. Now there's a really fun conversation going on in there. That's I like seeing that. Old and Mario talking about creating CUIs and stuff like that. That's fun. Yes, the automated stash traps does work. I still use it. So the stash networking is we actually tested this. It's complicated. But if somebody can still find a stash trap, you want to know about it. And it works really well. It alerts you right away. As soon as somebody opens a stash that they're not supposed to, it lets you know. T-Dub says, are you going to expand your brand outside of Rust, or are you not passionate about other games enough? I feel like your YouTube subs are limited to only Rust server owners. That is you hit the nail right on the head with that. You're 100% correct. I have limited myself to this one niche of a niche of a niche. Have I considered branching out? Yes, of course. Other games that I have played or do consistently play are things like Satisfactory, PUBG, things like Farming Simulator. That's not very interesting. What else do I play? Cities Skyline, 1 and 2. Stuff like that. So would I want to dive as deep into any of those as I have with Rust? No, probably not. Honestly, just this, despite my my sub population or my viewership population being so limited, it's still a full-time job. I gotta turn those things off. That's annoying the hell out of me. Num. Bear with me just 1 second. Just 1 second. I'm going to turn that off, and hopefully that will stop because I don't like seeing that. Don't like it. Yeah, you're right. I could do a separate channel for those. But like I said, it's just, I don't have the time commitment. I don't have the free time to commit to doing that to the extent that I would want to do that, if that makes sense. PUBG was just murdered for OC region. Ping used to be 18 to 20. And now that they close those servers, it's at 280 to 300. Holy yikes. No, this isn't my, I do have a full-time day job. And then this is what I do after I'm done that. My day job is a lot of fun. I enjoy it. And it allows me the freedom and the finances to do this in my spare time, in my free time. I build car stereos for those that don't know. Custom fabrication, big stereos, small stereos, car starters, security systems, video systems in vehicles. I do. Think of like a show like Pimp My Ride, something like that, but I actually do it professionally and properly. I noticed plugins sold are open source. Do server owners mind closed or obfuscated plugins? If you find a way to make that work properly and efficiently, let us know. They technically are open source because once you download it, you can dive into the CS and pretty much do whatever you want. There are people out there that are working on like various different ways of implementing code protection. I know of one developer out there that absolutely refuses to release their plugin publicly because they don't want the very extensively researched information in that plugin to go public. I know they want to get the plugin out there, but just they absolutely will not until there's some sort of code protection. How many hours a day does everyone put into their servers? That's a really good question, Old. That's a really good question. 20 Death puts in 25 hours a day. I would say I probably spend at least 1 hour a day. But maybe it's not every day. Yeah, it's hard to. I would have a hard time saying that I spend 30 hours a month on my server. Like working on my server. I play on my server way more than that, but my issue with open source as a creator, I spend weeks building one, someone buys and rebrands, and yeah, the rest is history. Yeah, that is a very real problem. There are some internal politics going on with a lot. It talks exactly about that. I wish there was a way that we could get around it. It's just we don't have that functionality yet. It's like that technology doesn't exist. I've got a team of people that are working on a solution for it. They have a system that is working. I just don't know how performant it's going to be. And get me on stream so I can audit your server. Hey, bring it on, man. That would actually be kind of fun. I'd be okay with that. Let's do that. So they're working on a system. They have a system up and running that does function. I just don't know how performant it's going to be, especially if many servers were using that same plugin. Yeah, exactly. Exodia. That's exactly what it is. That's one of the issues is what happens when the developer doesn't update. Yep. And then it just fails, and I don't know. Could it lock up a server? I don't know. It depends on the customers. No one complained about one of my plugins being 99% remote code. Just make sure you label it as such. There you go. So it's possible. There are people out there working on different ways of doing it. Absolutely. Connecting it through an API. Yep. How do you manage playing on your own server as an admin? Do you use deep cover? So this is something that I kind of pride myself on. Okay, so first of all, I don't raid. I don't raid any players on my server ever, no matter what. As far as PvP goes, it's very, very minimal. Because I just have too many tools readily available on my hotkeys. It makes it not fair. Now, if somebody does get the jump on me, I do fight back. And I'm never in God mode. If you can see me on my server, I'm not in God mode. And then, so how do I do it? With a ton of self-control. You have to have self-control. And that's the problem when you're bringing in like moderators or admins to your server. And depending on their motivation as to why they want to be a mod on your server, chances are pretty good that they're actually going to ruin things for you. And I will never say don't bring somebody in, but the likelihood of you actually needing to have somebody there is almost zero. I'm working with a group right now that has the owner and at least 2 moderators, maybe 3 moderators. And I'm looking after the situation right now because the owner is not able to. And those other 2 or 3, however many moderators there are, they actually don't have any abilities in game. So it's like, why are you a moderator if you don't have any back-end access, you don't have the skills required to do any of this stuff? Like, so why do you have moderators if they can't do anything for you? Yo, the Peachy Viking joined as a YouTube member. Thank you so much. You are a long-time member, and for it to show up like that means you stopped being and then started being again. So I appreciate that. What's up, long-time viewer, first time on air? How familiar are you with 5M server development? And if you're familiar, how would you compare to Rust developing? PS is TEBX used. So 5M experience, exactly 0. I have heard that some of the skills do translate, but that it's completely different. But a lot of the skills will prepare you for what is required in Rust development. PS is TEBX used. I don't know what you mean by that. I use TEBX for my Rust servers, if that's what you mean. You don't have to, but you can. Yeah, chat mod. Good point. MMA casual. That's a good point. I wasn't thinking of that. Yeah, being able to moderate chat, I guess that does make sense. And Death is having a conversation about code fling. I can leave that alone for right now. Oh no, except we're talking about DRM, which is exactly what we're talking about here. The security risk letting developers implement their own DRM like remote code injection. Okay, yeah. Rust plugin code is C# and 5M is Lua. Okay, that's fair. But the skills would still translate, just maybe not the ability of understanding what's happening in the code. I guess that's a good point. I have the same stance on playing on your own server, but I also took it one more step up and provided proof that I had no unfair advantages by using automatic tools such as Admin, Logger, and NVIDIA. So, Izumi, that's a good point, and I do see a lot of people trying to do stuff like that. However, if you end up in a situation where somebody is calling your integrity into question, you've already lost. You might as well, you've failed at that point. So having to provide proof, no, that would never happen in my world. If I know that if I had to provide proof for something, I've already failed. So I would know that I need to do better going forward. Yeah, that's a good point, Death. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking of the malicious side of it. I was thinking more of the accidental or negligent side of things. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It could be malicious. That's a good point. Should be a video on the new pay now. I agree. So there you go. There's a general consensus starting to develop right there. So obfuscated code or streamed code, it may never be a thing. So that means that there are plugins out there that will never see the light of day in public, simply because that code protection may never exist, or it may never be efficient enough. I don't know. It's hard to say. Mr. Duckman, playing hooky from work. Glad to see you. Well, I'm glad to see you as well. Playing hooky from work, though, I don't know about all that. Excuse me. What's a good UI to use for moderators? As an example, is make them able to spawn certain items, but can certain items only, but not 1000 high quality by accident. So that kind of leads back to the same thing. If you can't trust them to be spawning or to not be spawning in ridiculous amounts of things, then they don't need to be there. There's no such thing as, oops, I accidentally spawned in 1000 high qual or 10,000 scrap. It's not a real thing. So immediately you're fired. You're demoted. Could CodeFling not set up something sort of DRM API hosting as staff on CodeFling? You would be able to review that's what they're working on right now. And it would be hosted on a trusted site. Yeah. So what happens when that site gets hacked? Or somebody decides that they want to do something malicious? I get what you're saying, and that is the idea that's being floated around. But there's always going to be that what if, and that's what people don't want to take that chance, and I don't blame them. I'm not a plugin developer, but I do know the amount of time that goes into these, and to have that code stolen, yikes. I just got a notification. Somebody commented on a video, not this video, but another video. It says, it would be helpful if your face didn't take up so much space. And then the message continues. I can't see the rest of it, but I can't wait to read that. That should be good. C# is definitely a language worth learning. I don't know it very well, but I have had fun with what I do know about it. Yep. Developers need to get into the mindset to add configuration options for everything to defeat the need to make manual code modifications. True. Yeah, never spawn anything, ever, for any reason. As for having failed, if you need to show proof, I feel like it's sort of out of our control. If a player thinks you had a radar on or similar, I'd like to have the ability to prove that I didn't. I get it. I understand what you're saying. It's too late by that point. Chances are pretty good that if somebody thought that you were using admin abilities or tools to quote unquote cheat, they'll just leave your server and they won't say anything. They'll just leave and never come back. That's why I say it's better. The best Rust server admin is the one that nobody knows is there. So I don't have any tags in my name. I don't have anything indicating that I'm an admin or a mod or anything on my server. I just look like another player. So they'd have no reason to even think that I have those tools. If you're running a Rust server, I would say knowing C# is essential, as it allows you to develop anything that's outside of Rust. That includes outside of Rust. I think it just gives you the skills to be able to deal with what's going on with what's already out there. To understand what a code is doing, and knowing the syntaxes that work and the ones that break things, that is a very essential skill to have, for sure. CodeFling uses REST API for remote plugin downloads. It's a one-way tunnel which eliminates the security risk. This is a really fun conversation. I don't have the answers that everyone might be looking for, but I'm really glad that Death and Rawl are in chat, taking on this whole code obfuscation situation for me. Old Bitches Gaming, OBG, welcome, welcome, welcome. See, it's funny actually. So here, I'm going to show you guys something here real quick. So this is my list of YouTube members right now because of the last stream where like 70 different memberships were handed out for free, gifted, I should say. And look at how many people in chat aren't members right now. That's crazy. It's good to see that some new faces are coming into the streams. So that's awesome. Let's see. How's everybody doing? Let's check your score right now. Your score is right now 16 likes on today's stream. Admins playing on their own servers is always seen as a bad thing. Exactamundo. I agree with that 100%. I just started my server this month at average around 4 to 5 players consistently. My question is, how long did it take you to build up population, and what are some ways to grow my community organically? Well, you're already doing it, Jake. Those 4 or 5 players, get them in your Discord, make sure you're available to them, make sure you're communicating with them, give them a reason to be there, and that's how it starts. Those 4 or 5 will turn into 8 and 10. So that's what organic growth is. As far as, tricks, there aren't any. Anybody that says that there are, they're lying to you, or they're trying to get money out of your pocket. So if you have 4 to 5 players consistently, you're already starting that process. So good work. Congratulations. That's a big step. Duckman, sorry to hear that. Took it hard, stayed home from work to console her. Yeah, that's tough, man. Sorry. I took a lighthearted stance on that. Your videos got me to start up my own server. Cool. That's awesome. Congratulations on that. That's fun. Downloading physical plugins is primitive. Being able to click one button either through Carbon Panel or from CodeFling is the future. And that functionality is already there. So for anybody that's never experienced Carbon, what Death is talking about right there is 100% possible through the Carbon Panel. You guys have seen me do it on streams before. I do use Carbon on one of my servers, and you can literally one click and edit directly from the panel. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. MMA casual. It's totally cool. You bring 5M back. That's totally fine. I can't really speak to it. I have no experience with it. And yeah, I have a ton of videos that are going to help you build a Rust server. So start at the beginning and have some fun with it. And okay, so we've got more code obfuscation. Yeah, Death, that's a really good point. I don't envy anybody either that's trying to get us a server started right now. Yeah, that nifty host button. Oh man, I hate that button. Hate it. Hate it. Or I wish they'd used my company. instead of, what was it, Shockbyte they went with. Yeah, I don't envy anybody either that's just starting out. And to be honest with you, and I've said this before on chat, on stream, is I'm actually a big part of the reason why people are struggling to get their servers populated, because I'm teaching so many people how to set up their own servers, and they sit there with one person, the owner, the person that I taught how to set it up. That's exactly right. Don't be discouraged. If you have those 4 or 5 players, love them to death. If they go away, it's okay. Just do this for yourself. Have fun with it, and they will come eventually. I hate that server button now in Rust. Yeah. One of the worst shared server hosts ever. That's not my opinion. That's somebody in chat that said that. I will not disparage another hosting company. I know there's a stigma with using GPT to modify code. I spend a lot of time test and slowly modifying using GPT. I don't know if there's a stigma with that or not. I've fixed a couple of plugins using ChatGPT, so if there's a stigma, I don't care. I was waiting for an update. Update wasn't coming. I needed to figure out how to fix it, and ChatGPT fixed it. So I don't care about stigma. Raven, what's up? Sadly, that host had the deepest pockets, but their support is horrible. Yeah, do you think they paid to get put on there? I don't know. I guess that's what would make sense. Apparently, there was a like they did a secret shopper type situation. Facepunch did, and apparently Shockbyte won that secret shopper contest or whatever. I don't understand how that could possibly be a thing. But yeah, I guess that's what happened. Currently working on a sandbox server for YouTuber. Some of you may know. Does anybody have a suggestion for what would they like to see in a build server that none of the current one have? Well, isn't that just the question of the day, right? Crunchy. That's what everyone is looking for is, hey, what can I do differently from literally everybody else out there? So you're kind of asking the $64 million question right there. Yeah, I've never, again, not going to disparage anybody. Okay, you guys can disparage them all you want, though. That's totally fine. Do you have any info about the release of the global Rust edit patch loading game manifest? I don't know anything about that. As a player, I hate pay to win, so I don't understand it. Based on your experience, what would you say the most profitable features commonly used in Rust servers? Most commonly profitable features. That's a good question. So larger backpacks is a big one. More homes is a big one. Faster recycling. If you can figure out a way to alter gather rates for your VIPs or something like that. But again, that you're very quickly getting into that pay to win arena, and it's really hard to balance that out. So in my server, I have no pay to win features at all. I can't even really say that. I do have one, but my VIPs get more homes, shorter cooldown times, more TPs. Stuff like that, but it's all quality of life stuff. Exoida says we use TikTok and hashtags to gain player base. It does work, but you have to think about where you're getting your growth from, what kind of player you want, knowing that Rust can be toxic. Absolutely, and TikTok is just as toxic. So that's a tough one. Mr. Duckman, I have a question since I'm new to the server stuff. How do you find out the coding stuff? A lot of plugins, and when I go to the support stuff, dev talk to me like Oh, okay. So you're saying that the support staff is talking over your head, like they're expecting you to understand things that you might not necessarily understand. So yeah, that does happen, which is another really big reason why I started this channel, because I wanted to be basically the translator between the developer and the end user, because they do that. They talk very technically, and you have to be able to translate that. So I do understand where you're coming from. So how do I answer that? I don't know how to answer that question. Well, I would say join my Discord. So discord.srtbull.com, because the people that are there are both. They're both developers and end users, so they would maybe be able to translate a little bit better. That's a really tough question, actually. Yeah. Oh, selling kits. Good point. Good call. Death. That is a very good piece of advice. If your donation store is done before your server is done, you're going to fail. Chasing profit is going to disappoint. Yeah. So using your VIPs and stuff like that to fund your server, that's okay. If you're getting into this to profit or actually make some money off of this, you're getting into it for the wrong reason. As a former server provider, they 100% paid. Facepunch is sending so much money in their direction. What they paid will never be known, but it wouldn't be cheap. Yeah, that's a valid point. Oh, Peachy Viking, that's interesting. That does happen. That's a good point. I don't normally talk about stuff like that on stream. So yeah, if you think you're subscribed to my channel right now, make sure that you are actually subscribed. PG Viking says that they were YouTube unsubscribed them, and they do that. They go through a blast and they'll just unsubscribe people for what would appear to be no reason. A lot of times they treat you like you're a bot or something like that, and they unsubscribe you from everything that you're following. See, that is kind of what I thought too, Death. I'm not sure. Yeah, implementing a skin for renting a server for 1 month is a massive promotion. Yeah, that's a good point. So maybe, and again, it'll be one of those things that we may never hear the answer to. I don't know. Facepunch have their own server farms as they host their servers outside of Shockbite area. Yeah, I doubt it. I doubt it. They probably rent. For a long time, I think they were actually with OVH. I don't know if they still are or whatever. Yeah, see, Casey Vega. They did used to use OVH for sure. I know that for fact. Carbon has a built-in plugin manager. I'll use Carbon and call it a day. Yep, they do. And you can directly link your CodeFling account to the Carbon panel, so you can access all of the plugins that you own from your CodeFling as well. Facepunch uses OVH and GSK. There you go. So OBG, I'm going to correct you because I think that's the second time you've actually used that. So Rust Academy is actually a thing, and it's not me. Rust Admin Academy is me. So it's important to make that distinction, because I've actually been asked about Rust Academy stuff, and I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And then I actually went to go find out what Rust Academy was. And I was like, yikes, I do not want to be associated with that. But yes. One thing that's very profitable on 5M are custom cars, building homes, and there's plenty of that going on. However, I don't see as much custom rad towns or unique cosmetics. Is this possible in Rust? 100% possible. There you go to loan.design, CodeFling, there's tons of monuments and maps, and there's tons of different things that you can get for your servers. Yeah, OBG, that's mine too. So my servers do have a VIP system, and it just pays for hosting or plugins or whatever. It just sits there and does its own thing. The hell was that? I know you're not a bot, but yeah, sometimes they label people bots for what would appear to be no reason. I don't know what the rhyme or reason is for it, actually. And like, I'm just a tiny, tiny little YouTuber. Like, leave my subs alone. Like, I beg and scrape and plead for every single one of them. So stop taking them away. YouTube, if you're listening. Yeah, though. Yeah, exactly. Those. Well, they're. I mean, sure. Yeah, maybe they are scripted, but like they were so poorly set up. Like you could. Sometimes he would forget that he had auth on a TC and he would raid it. Like he just, I don't know, he screwed up so many times. But I mean, it had an entertainment value, and that's why he did so well. I don't even know if he's still doing that. I haven't even looked recently. Rust edit looks a bit abandoned. No, definitely not abandoned. For sure not abandoned. The amount of updates that they had to do for the October patch, yeah, it's definitely not abandoned. Oh my god, stop doing that. Keep getting logged out because I'm not doing anything on my keyboard. Well, this has been a really good chat. I'm glad so many people came in on kind of an impromptu type situation. I actually had, or no, I gotta be careful how I word this. I wanted to have a guest on today, and I don't have direct access to the guest that I wanted to bring on, but I know people that do have direct access. So like we put our feelers out there to try to get that person to come on stream for you guys, because you absolutely would have loved it. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out the way that I had hoped that it was going to. And which isn't to say that it might not happen in the future. It just didn't happen for today, which was the day that I had it planned for. We were going to try and get somebody from Facepunch on stream so that we could actually have a conversation, do a Q&A with them, and probably give them a hard time about things like recoil or I don't know. Which is probably actually the reason why they didn't want to come on stream or didn't respond or whatever, because as if somebody wants to sit there and get shit on for recoil changes that were made, 2 years ago? Yeah, go to the Rust Edit Discord. Forget about the forum. The forum, yeah, okay. So if you're looking at the forum, it does look abandoned. I get why you're thinking that now. Go to the Discord, for sure. I was thinking about buying TC upgrades. Do you think it's getting easier for the players? Getting too easy for the players, or it spoils making things too easy? No, I like the TC upgrades. There's actually, I have a video in planning stages right now for, actually there's 2 TC plugins that I want to cover. One of them is by loan, actually. But no, I call them quality of life. A lot of people say, oh, you're making things too easy. You're taking the difficulty or the challenges out of Rust. And yeah, that's perhaps true. But I don't think so. There's a lot of quality of life plugins out there that I absolutely adore and could not live without. So I don't think it's making things too easy. Why every month they break things. So lately, that's not true. lately things have gone really, really smoothly, especially if you consider the amount of changes that went into effect on for October. I think it went really smoothly compared to previous years ago. That's true, David, except the amount of promotion that I would do leading up to it, had I had a confirmation, there would have been a lot more people in here than what we currently have right now. And so I wouldn't be able to say that that audience would have been mature. I think it would have garnered a lot of stress, I would think. Yeah, I love Facepunch too. They like, I mean, Jesus. I've made a career out of their game. So yeah, I appreciate everything that they do. And when you compare how things functioned like 8 years ago, like, did you guys know that we used to have to do like the update that they do every month now? We used to have to do that every week. Think about that. Not necessarily a wipe, but we had to do an update. David, good point. Skinbox is another popular VIP perk. I would prefer to see everyone using Skinner or Skin Controller. Either one of those two. They're very good. I like their functionalities that are built into all of them. If you need money to run a server, you're not passionate about the server, you're about the money. That's a really harsh way of putting it, but very true. Profit shouldn't be the motivation. Yep. Yep, death. I've seen that happen way too many times. Yeah, Blueberry, good point. Yeah, Blueberry, yeah, they got... Is there a way to have a successful vanilla server that is in the community tab because of quality of life plugins? No, don't do that. You can have a vanilla server that only has admin plugins on it, but anything that adjusts gameplay, you have to be on the modded tab. Have to. Don't try to work your way around that. Yeah, they did used to be Titans back in the day, that's for sure. Blueberry for sure. What was that other one? Shit, I can't remember what it was called. There was another one that was really popular that you couldn't craft, you couldn't gather. Everything had to be found. I forget what that one's called. But yeah, it was huge and failed. Shouldn't have community server with, yeah. Yep. Sorry, yeah, you just repeated what I said. Tip for serve down for anyone else. I don't know. Let's have a look. So they asked me to do a review of their service. I think it is down. You are correct. Eek. Eek. That's not good. Most developers don't even ship a server these days. I'm not really sure what you mean by that, Casey Vega. Oh, okay. Yes, Jake. So yeah, you can absolutely do that. You can run a vanilla server in the modded tab. Yep. You can have a vanilla server with basically as many plugins as you want in the modded tab. Totally cool. Terminus. That's the one. Thank you, BMG. Yep, that is the one though. I don't even know, are they still online? Terminus? How about Blueberry? Are they still around? No, LenCorp, you absolutely can do both. What Death is saying, and what I'm also agreeing with, is that if money is your driving force, you're not going to succeed. If the game is the driving force and the money is the secondary, then you'll probably do okay. When you start getting into like, especially like nickel and diming or like charging, like microtransactions, stuff like that, it might work for a while, but it doesn't have a long shelf life for sure. So there we go. Tip for serve is definitely down. That is really unfortunate. I hope that's not a permanent issue for them. I feel bad that I never did that video. I really do. I was looking for something in their service that differentiated them from what's already out there, and I didn't see it. I basically saw a replica of what is already out there. So gotta give Facepunch some credit for this amazing patch schedule, though. Their counterpart Arc did 7 patches per day for a year. Yeah. Well, and like I said, like it used to be rough like that years and years ago. Facepunch would put out updates way more often than, and so that means like you had to be able to access your server, the back end of your server, to make sure that you were up to date. Otherwise, players wouldn't be able to join your server, and then you'd lose population. They would go to the servers that did have access, once a week, or sometimes 2 or 3 or 4 times a week. It was crazy back then. It was like the wild, wild west. Yeah, death. That's exactly right. Making decision based on profitability instead of sustainability. Yep. Wizla had a break for a few years from Rust. When I came back, was pretty blown away by the stuff that had been added. Yep. Things have changed, and they changed pretty quick. Especially if you take a couple of months off. Like you can take 3 or 6 months off and come back, and it feels like a completely different game depending on, what changes are being made. Just saying that most game companies don't offer players server code anymore. You have to connect to the company's servers to play a game. That is true. I fear that Rust goes that way one day. I don't have any reason to think that. I do fear that, because there are some substantial businesses out there right now that survive simply because of that. Yeah, a few years ago, they were forced weekly updates that had no schedule. It would release between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. You'd have to have every Thursday off to make it work. Yeah. And I did. I actually scheduled those days off from work so that I was able to make those updates. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. When they switched to the once a month thing, I was like, okay, damn. So now I only have to schedule 1 day off a month. And so now I can do it from my phone, because of IceHost. I can literally do it directly from my phone. I don't have to take days off anymore, which is fantastic for me. But yeah, I did. I used to schedule the first Thursday of the month off from work so that I could play with my video game. Try explaining that one to your boss. Started playing Rust in Legacy and still come back to play a wipe or two every forced wipe. 15,000 hours. Yikes. I'm not even at 15,000 hours. I think I'm at 13. There are more community servers than officials. Yes, that is true. And unfortunately, most of them are sitting there empty. Carbon does make updates a lot easier. That's true. There's like 4 times more modded servers than there are community. Yes, that is also true, but I think they were talking about official servers. Recurring medical appointment. It just happens to be every Thursday, first Thursday of the month. Yeah. Exactly. By the way, officials count in the community tab as well. They show in both. Do they really? I didn't know that. Scammers. Scammers. They already have enough of an advantage. They should just be on the official list, and that's it. They get everything that they need from that. What's the difference between modded and community? So on a community server, you can't have anything that has any game changes. So the player can't have, there's no plugins that can affect the gameplay for the player. You can have plugins on that server, on the community server, that your admins use, but nothing that changes the actual gameplay. And then obviously modded, you can literally do almost whatever you want as far as mods and plugins and stuff like that. Even through Carbon auto updates, I still manually update it through my daily restart scripts and wipe scripts. Which reminds me, you never made a video about advanced scripts. You are correct. I have not made that video. That'll be another one of those ones where I want to bring somebody else in on. The last ones that I did, which are getting quite old now, are automatic wipe and update scripts, and it was way over my head. It was stuff that I didn't even understand what I was doing, but I did have somebody at the time that was basically holding my hand the whole way, and yeah. Oh, Casey Vega. The problem is we have customized all of our plugins with different code, so we end up in a merge hell the night before. That's crazy. I don't know why you would do that to yourself. I mean, I know why you would do that, but like, yikes. That's a lot of hands-on work. Yeah, BMG, that is true. That is true. That is a really valid point. And I do use, I have a vanilla server that uses better chat and no give notice. No give notice. So maybe I'm in violation of my own policy there. I'm not really sure. Yuzumi, I know that you did, and I did get those messages, but I would still probably want to bring you in on a video to do that. Maybe. OG Payne, Carbon is free. I've done several videos on Carbon, on how to use it. I need to do another one on the profiler functionality. But yeah, it's free. Go get it. Get started. Play around with it. It's fantastic. Caruza, that's okay. You're here. They don't mind better chat in official. This is directly from Alistair's mouth. But it would be valid to say that they don't like the no give notice. I could see that being a thing for sure. Carbon has seemed to be a lot more reliable than the other one. Now I haven't used Oxide in a few years, but it used to be pretty bad with updates, partly due to Facepunch. That is true. A couple years ago, we did go through a pretty rough patch with Oxide as well. But Oxide and Carbon are both, well, Carbon updates automatically, which is super good. And Oxide is doing a really good job too. There hasn't been a major hang up with Oxide in years. Didn't they make a convoy for the notification? I don't know. Did they? That's interesting. I would find that curious. I'll check into that. Do we have a video on creating your own private personal offline server? Yes, I have 4 videos. Because all of my server setup tutorials can be offline servers. Yes, they can be. That's good to know, Death. I didn't know that they actually put that in actual writing. Yeah, OG Pain, go check it out. It's fun. Doesn't carbon load oxide? Carbon utilizes all of the oxide hooks, but no, it doesn't load oxide. cPanel is huge. I also like that carbon doesn't alter the base files. Haven't here. Yeah, it based on what Death is saying, it doesn't make sense for them to have a convar that blocks out the give notices if they don't like having no give notices on their community service. So I'd look into it, but I find that hard to believe. Yuzumi, that's I get what you're saying, but that's also why I did the video on it, to show that it can be super easy. I actually like having to like actually download Oxide and install the Rust data files could actually be considered more complicated than Carbon, in my opinion. That's just me, though. Yeah, and the original setup process is basically the exact same. You just get a little bit more functionality with the Carbon setup, is you actually get to select which features you want to use. Okay, so there you go. Raul says we added the C no give notices. There you go, which just removes those give messages if the value is true. There you go. So it's not a CVAR, but it is built into Carbon. Again, one of Carbon's definite advantages is it has features built into it like gather rates, stack sizes, stuff like that, and things like this, where you can actually just turn on features like no give notice. That's all built right in. Yeah, there's actually 2 from Carbon here. So we've got Raul and Death. We've got the face of Carbon, and then the actual hands-on creator of Carbon, both in chat right now. So are VPS the way to go over dedicated servers? My favorite answer for that question is only do what you can afford to do comfortably. If you can get a dedicated machine, great, do that. If you can spend the $300 or $400 for a full-on machine, power to you. If you just want to start out small, you can do, small shared VPS servers. That's totally fine. 10, 12, and $19 a month. That's totally fine. Don't overextend yourself, especially when you're first starting out. Just about no matter which host you go with, they're all scalable. So like once you grow to a certain point, you can upgrade with your host and get, more features or more computing power. Like there's benefits to starting out small and then growing as your server and as your community grows. Yeah, Vanish is built in too. Absolutely. Working on Carbon 4 client at the moment. Just toying with what's possible, but having a blast. Are you talking about client modding? I thought that got dusted. Did you see the SpaceX catch the Starship booster with a standing tower, Elon playing baseball with literal rockets? I did see that, and that was absolutely amazing. You are the face because you're the guy that's out front talking about it all the time. Now, as far as your real face, no, because nobody knows what you actually look like, right? Crazy bye has just joined as a YouTube member. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Your Carvar joke went unnoticed. I'm sorry. Did it? I started my servers on VPS. VPS down to be exact. Kept upgrading as needed until a server got to get a dedicated server. Exactly. It kind of did get busted, but we are still able to keep up the GTA map on and various other things. See, we never did go, or no, did we? I think I did put that on a live stream actually one time. So Raul and the team over at Carbon have basically a GTA map, a Grand Theft Auto map in Rust. It's not basically a GTA map, it is a GTA map, which was super cool. No, it wasn't on a live stream. I think I was watching one of you live stream it, actually. I think is how that happened. Yeah, BMG Jet, that's a good point. Don't start out too small. Some hosts have rip-off plans that are only 4 to 6 gigs and won't even run a vanilla map, especially not a 4.5K vanilla map. If you go to a server host and you're trying to decide should I go with them or not, if they offer you anything less than 10 gig, don't go with them. I've tried to talk to my host and my partner to get rid of the 10 gig option. They won't, and I understand why they won't, but I feel that even a vanilla Rust server cannot run effectively on a 10 gig server with a 4.5K map, especially once it's populated. Yeah, Raul, keep me in the know on that. I'd like to know. I know that there was a little bit of excitement starting to build around client-side modding, and I'd hate to miss out on that. Jesus, I'm like, my throat is so dry right now, it's crazy. I run my servers in an AWS free tier. Is that right? I've never tried that. Never tried that. Oh, Oracle Cloud. But a free Oracle Cloud? Whispers88. Can we get an srtbull rewind at the end of this year, and any big plans for this channel for 2025? I have huge plans for the entire Rust Admin Academy community for 2025. Things are going to change a lot. A rewind, though, that's interesting. I've never considered that. I guess I've done like a recap. I guess that's the same thing. I've done that before. I haven't done it in a couple of years. I didn't feel like it got very much traction. People come to me for information. They don't really care about that kind of stuff. Kind of just like feed me what I came here for and kind of shut your face about everything else. But yeah, I'll look at that. Unlimited NVMe and RAM. Only pay for slots. I don't like paying for slots. Don't like it. Strix, firstly, Bull, I want to say thank you for your videos. Helping me a crazy amount. I appreciate it. Hey, absolutely. That's what we're here for. I'm very happy to help. Serverless hosting might not be the best solution for Rust servers. Your egress fees would be insane. My minimal modded servers run at 11 gigs on average, 3750 size map. You got to watch out for hosts which sell servers by RAM. That's true. Strix. Secondly, I can't get rid of one of my kits I've tried deleting in console. However, the kit name is primkit as a test. However, when I try to remove it, it says That's not the kit name. So you want to do /kit remove and then put in quotes prim space kit, if that's what it's called. Put it in quotations and spell it exactly the same way as it's written out in the data file, with the capital letters being exact, lowercase being exact, spaces being exact. Sometimes if even that doesn't work, sometimes you might accidentally have 2 spaces in between the name. You have to replicate those two spaces inside of your quotes. Can we get a montage of the hairline? See, the problem with that is I've been shaving my head since I was literally 18 years old. I graduated, well, 20, I guess. I graduated high school, shaved my head, never stopped. So that's going back to before the internet was a thing. Definitely before YouTube was a thing. Crazy Bye, I watched a lot of your videos, finally get to see you live. Yeah, I typically, so like, for everyone that doesn't know, on the first Friday of the month after Forced Wipe, I do a server audit stream where I actually join your servers and audit. Altruistic Cynic, welcome to silver level YouTube membership. Thank you so much for that support. I appreciate that. What was I saying? Shoot. I totally lost where I was in chat. So we did the kit remove thing. Damn it. I totally lost what we were talking about. Sorry, guys. Started my server, but I think it's got 2 for a starter server. I don't know what you mean it's got 2. What if the rewind is a then and now of the Rust servers you graded on the lives? That is something that I do want to do. So, and that's going to require a little bit of connection with that server owner before the audit and after the audit. What I've found is, unfortunately, the people that put their servers in for audits months ago, they're nowhere to be found now. Sometimes their servers are offline, which is insane. But that is a good point. That is a great idea and something that is being discussed. Worst case, unload the plugin, edit the data file, remove it, and then put the plugin back in again. Yeah, that only works if you only have 1 kit, though. If they have more than 1 kit, don't do that. For the server reviews, could you bring a stopwatch to the next stream so you don't spend all of the time on one server? Yes, I need to. I have committed to 15 minutes per server. If I can't get enough covered in 15 minutes, I'm going to ditch. Of course, Strix, I would not give you bad information. Of course, the quotation marks worked. Happy to help. How does Komomo spawn players into a chair? That is using a plugin called Payback by Tommy Guns. My question regarding servers wasn't an actual hardware machine. It was referring to a VPS over a dedicated game server from a company like Shockbyte, which is, I think, what you meant there. That's a tough question. So using somebody else's hardware is always better than using your own, to put it softly. If you consider wear and tear on your own machine, power usage from your own house, stuff like that, that $9, $10, $15, $20 a month from an actual metal host very quickly pays for itself. So, and then DDoS protection, all of the various things that you get by going to a host, it very quickly becomes not worth it to try and do it on a VPS. Does that answer your question? I do both. I have test servers on with a host. I also have test servers at my home. I also have test servers on a server that I operate from my home. They all have their functionality. But no, actual player servers that players can join on, no. I would absolutely go to a paid host and I'd say, here, take my money. Make it their problem instead of your problem. Is 10 gig of RAM enough to run a vanilla server with a 3500 world size? Yes, depending on the number of players, but yes, you could do that to start out with for sure. Is there a plugin to run a purge event the night before wipe day automatically? Yes, you would be doing a combination. Okay, so this is for Wicked Sun. You would be doing a combination of different things. You would use a plugin called timed execute to turn different features off at a specific time or on a specific day. My 4500 servers can often hit 20 to 25 gigs after 24 hours. Exactly. So that would crater. If you had a 10 gig limitation, that would crater. It wouldn't work. You'd get twitching and lag. It would be terrible for your players. What's the going rate for people to help their server, like to put add-ons and stuff like that? Well, it depends. If you get me to do it, it doesn't cost you anything. If you go into various different places and offer to pay, they'll take from you whatever you're willing to pay out. Kits will have two names, file name and a public name. If I remember right, when deleting kits through the command, you need to use the file name, which cannot have any spaces in it. Could be wrong. Not true. But you are right that it does have two names. But you can accidentally have the file name, the machine name, that has spaces in it. I have so many questions. My two mains are, once I spawn into my server, I'm underneath the ground with my vanish. Sometimes I get kicked because of it. Next is my server is never on the server list. Okay, so that spawning in underneath the ground, so that is a feature of the Vanish plugin, and you can go into the configuration file and turn that off. If you get kicked because of that, you want to get the plugin called Terrain in Violation Fix from umod. Here, I'll just give you the link. So what this does is it makes it so that you won't get kicked for being underground or under a rock. And then the next thing is your server is never on the list. So are you locally hosted or are you with a paid host? Because that's going to change my answer. I run a server at home, but it's only for trusted friends. That's totally cool. The chances of you being DDoSed, pretty slim. Yep. That's totally cool. So like you can have a Discord community that has direct access to your locally hosted server, and that is totally fine. There's a lot of people out there that do that. And if somebody happens to join or whatever, you kick them, ban them, whatever, make it so that they don't ever try to come back. Yeah. So Jake, this is going to make, if you have 100 people, with a max of 100 people, it seems to run on an average like 9 gigs. That being said, it's not very populated. If you're saying that 100 people on your server is not very populated, chat is going to turn you up. They're gonna want to punch you. Timed permissions would help you there. Yeah, that's true. Timed permissions could do all of that. I would say turn the plugin off, like the PVE or whatever. But yeah, you're right. That would work too. The fastest CPU with 3x boost, 40 gig RAM. Never started a server with 40 slots. It's got 5 regular players in the last 48 hours. You think I should downgrade until more regular players? That's up to you. But I'll go back to my original advice, which is don't overspend, don't overextend yourself. So don't spend more money than you're comfortable paying right now in hopes of maybe one day making enough money to pay for it. That's like start small and grow. I tried running local servers, but the energy costs were much higher than just renting machine. Data centers get a discounted rate and use a lot of green energy. It's hard to compete on the prices. Exactly. Strix, I am also with Iced Host. Do you show empty checked on the server? Okay. So, okay. Okay, I do find that strange. You're with Iced Host and you're not showing up on the server list. So, two things. Is your query port actually, is it, well, no, it would have to be. So your query port is definitely there. So you can check with the host, with Iced Host, and see if there's something that they didn't do when they set up your server. So start there first. And I want to follow up with you on this. So hit me up in Discord so that I can so you can keep me updated on what's going on there. Go right now. Go to Discord. Send me a message. I'm the Bull. You can't miss me. I'm at the very top of the list. I want you to send me a DM right now. Go right now. Okay, Jake. Okay, so you've got the 4 to 5 players. Okay, so max spots available is 100. I gotcha. Rico, thank you for stopping in just to say thank you. I appreciate that. So thank you for coming in to say thank you. Not sure if you have a video. Whoa. Not sure if you have a video. I'm trying to set it up where players join my Discord and Steam group and automatically grants access to a kit. I do have videos doing exactly that. There are newer, more efficient ways of doing it than the way that I show. But you can still do it that way because I haven't done an updated video. Does the new terrain update break map editor like Rust Edit? It did, but the Rust Edit, I believe, has been updated. Can somebody confirm or deny that? I don't use custom maps, so I don't know for sure, but I would think that they have it updated. No, I haven't. That's a great question. Paul Overstreet says, have you, okay, I'll skip the preamble. Is there a way to say, give the first 5 people to join a server on wipe day a free kit? How do you put a limitation on that? I'm thinking of making a way of wipe kits might be able to do that. No, because that prevents the use of kits. That's a good question. That is a really good question. I don't have an answer to that. I can find you the answer though. Raven, I made a, yeah, purge plugin. I was going to mention that. I just didn't know where you are with that. Oh, it is. Okay, so go to the Rust Edit Discord to get the beta. Okay, good to know. So BMG Jet, that's possible too, except that it sounds like it's a new server. So if it's blacklisted, it's still something that the host can take care of. He needs to swap to a new IP address. So that is possible. Unless it's been around for a really long time and he recently screwed up, that could get you blacklisted. PG Viking, thank you. Oxide mod and umod is your Discord? No, my Discord is discord.srtbull.com. Actually, here, that gives me an opportunity to do this. I haven't tried this yet. I don't know if this is going to work. I tried doing this last week and it didn't work. So let's try this. Oh my God. Here, Death, can you do in chat, can you do !Discord? You can get blacklisted for any number of reasons. Breaking the rules. Oh, look, it did work. Okay, good. That's awesome. Breaking the rules, using like cheater plugins or population plugins that make your server look populated when it's actually not. if you're on the community tab and you should be on the modded tab, they can blacklist your server. There's a lot of different reasons why you could get blacklisted. Grumpy old man, I experienced that once when I switched maps on my server and neglected to wipe it, put me on a blacklist. I had to fix that in order to appear on the server list. Interesting. Interesting. Kits, you can use a kits plugin, add a kit, and put a quantity of 5. So the first 5 people to buy it or get it for free. Yeah, that's true. I guess if you ran an economy. Ah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Now you have my brain working in the background here, trying to get an answer to that question. There has to be a way. Because we can do max uses. We can do a purchase cost. I don't know that you can do max purchases though. I'm just looking through, I'm scrolling through right now, having a look. So you can do individual maximum uses, but not global maximum usages. That's interesting. I want to look at that offline and hopefully get you an answer. So interesting that Death wasn't able to do exclamation point Discord. Oh, probably because it was on a global cooldown, because it did actually work when I did it. Is Blacklist a community ran thing? No, it's a Facepunch ran thing. They'll go through and they'll blacklist an IP address so that no matter what you do, you don't appear anywhere for any reason ever again. Quantity is per person, not server. Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't be able to set it up to do global quantity limitations. But kit max use is per user. Yes, exactly. You could have 5 tokens in a vending machine first come. Yeah, there you go. You could add a custom item into a vending machine. Yeah. Shop controller by Amino has max for sale. Let's have a look. Actually, I have a better way of looking because I know of a server that has shop controller on it, and I can go in and have a look at its data file. Just give me 1 minute here, and I should be able to answer that question. Shop controller, item list. So we have skin ID, amount, costs, amounts. Maybe that's what that is. So available for sale. Yeah, so that might work. Read your message. I'm assuming you mean Discord message? No. Read your message. Your last message says exclamation point Discord. That's your last message. Let's scroll up further. I don't see you for a really long time. I don't know what you're talking about. The easiest and light touch way is Battlemetrics trigger that listens to a player that connects, and the first 5 that connect gives them permission to a kit. That's a great point, Lencorp. I like that. I love that methodology, but that's a very advanced way of doing that. Yeah, shop control. That's what that would make sense too. The amount is actually the available that you can purchase per purchase. Yeah, I agree. Are there any map Discord bots people can use to vote on a map? Yes, there are. Ooh, BMG Jet, that's a valid point. I didn't think of that. Map harvesting bots. Ugh. Can you imagine that that's actually a thing? No, Death, you're not getting filtered for posting a link, because I would see the warning that says that you got removed for posting a link. Plus, I think you're a mod on the server, or on my channel, are you not? No link visible. I thought you were a mod. I think you're meant to be. Let's have a little looky-loo. What do you say? Settings. Community. Nick, you aren't a mod. Look at that. Looking. Death recated, not ricated. Death ricated. Look at that. There you go. Now you're a mod. Dum-dum-dum. Now you can post links all you want. What is this? I'm looking at the server list right now. Custom maps is not a very popular thing. Yeah, I could see that being a thing. The downside to custom maps is they have to be updated heading into a wipe. Otherwise, you could really break your server on wipe day. Oh, temp VIP. Oh, you were posting something else. Gotcha. I thought you were trying to do the Discord thing. Sorry about that. I misunderstood what you were trying to do. Lots of servers name their custom maps procgen to try and hide them. Yeah, that's true too. I don't really know why. I guess maybe there's players out there that would absolutely hate to join a server that has custom maps. So yeah, I guess I could see that. And yet on the other side of the coin, there's players out there that only play on custom maps. So I don't know. That's an interesting conundrum for sure. When is the next round of server audits? Jake, I do server audits on the first Friday of each month, which is always the day after forced wipe from Facepunch. I could easily sit here for hours listening and gain knowledge from bull. Well, then, I mean, there's tons of videos on my channel. Like I think we're about to crest the 300 mark. 300 videos. Can you guys imagine that? I've done 300 videos. Standalone videos, not lives. But there are spend time in the Discord too. There's so many skilled people in Discord, in my Discord. There's developers there. There's map creators there. There's, sometimes I'm blown away by the talent that are in that Discord. It's crazy. Custom maps are only viable if you use a new one or rotate each month. Playing the same map more than 1 month is boring. Correct. Yeah, so if you want to join the list, here, watch this. I run a 5X at the moment. Gathering is fine, but balancing locked crates, elite crates, Bradley, and heli crates is hard for me. You're always going to be adjusting your loot table. That's just the nature of the beast. My suggestion is going to alpha loot. because of the Alpha Loot editor. It's an absolute game changer as far as loot tables goes. It's very complicated for sure, but it works well. What is my... I don't know what the trigger is. Good Lord. It's like it's my first day or something like that. Yep. There it is. So audits is different from audit. Idiot. No, shop controller doesn't have max buy commands. No. There are loot tables that people sell. It's really an art to balance it right. You are correct. That is 100% true. Loot table is the hardest thing to balance. Whispers, yes. It used to only have one map. Yes. Is there a way to find out why a server is not showing on the list? We literally just talked about that. So first and foremost, make sure your query port is defined. If you're with a paid host, make sure they have the query port defined. If it's not defined, it won't default to something and it won't show up on the list. Klaxon just reminded me of another problem. When trying to load up Alpha Loot, it's always stuck on loading game manifest. That's new. Death has only been playing Rust since 2017. What the hell, man? I have you beat there. I've been playing since 2015. Rust wasn't popular when it had a static map, so it just kind of proves your point there, doesn't it? I'm a new server owner, so this is crazy buy. I'm a new server owner, confused about whether I should stick to the community server or switch to modded. I've heard community servers get more population and audits you guide owner after what to fix. So I go through your server, I test some of the things, I give you my opinions on things. I'm by no stretch of the imagination am I the authority on these matters. I'm just giving you my opinions, things that I'd like to see you fix. So yes, that is exactly what the audit entails. As far as whether you should be on the community list or the modded list, that depends entirely on what types of plugins you want to have on your server. If you're having game modifying plugins, then you have to be on the modded list. I don't care whether somebody's told you that you will attract more players on the community list. If you're using game altering plugins, you have to be on the modded list. When Rust was a web browser game was when it was at its peak. That's kind of harsh. Funny, but harsh. Is there a way to know what plugins a server is running? So if the server owner advertises that, then yes. If not, then no. And that's done intentionally because there's a lot of information. There's a lot of plugins that you don't necessarily want people to know you're running on your server. Admin plugins, stuff like that, things that help you with cheaters, all of that different type of stuff. You wouldn't want a random player or a random person to be able to find out which plugins you're using. Is that set up in the pterodactyl panel? Yes. I'm assuming you're talking about the query port? Yes. Still salty you decided not to audit websites and discords when you audited my server, though. Might resubmit to the audit in a month or two. Okay, so the reasoning for that is because I was spending entirely too much time on one community. So if I'm doing the server, the Discord, and the website, it was just, I was spending like 45 minutes on one submission. It was just too much time. People got frustrated when I was only doing one, maybe two, maybe three servers on a 3-hour live stream. So yeah, I had to drop something. It might come back. It depends. Testing says, hi team. Well, hello Testing. Welcome to the stream. It's an interesting name. Also think even back when I had the legacy map, Rust was top 10 or so on Steam, so it's always been popular. Rust has always been a popular game. It's nowhere near where I want it to be. I'd love to see 250,000 consecutive players at all times. We can barely break 100 right now, but one day. I have it set there. I think it might be an issue with my dedicated server provider location or something. That's true. And it also depends on the age. Like if this is something that you just set up, that will have an effect as well. Yeah, exactly. Never divulge your anti-cheat mods processes to the public. Absolutely. So like even in my servers, I do have a list of which plugins I'm using, but it's not an all-inclusive list. Do I think Rust is dying? Absolutely not. Rust is just getting started, in my opinion. BMG, you're 100% right. Yeah. Yep, that's true. We are getting to that point. Like for example, here, let me just have a quick look because I have it right there in front of me. So we're at 172 responses. So maybe I'll announce it at the next one that I'll wipe the list. I want to do a 15-minute max, not 20. I want to be able to get 4 or 5 communities done in a single stream. At the Peachy Viking, hello Kamomo. The Peachy Viking is not Kamomo. You guys are being silly. Can probably write you a script to pick a random server and remove it from the list. Hard to avoid dead or offline servers though. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah, the thing with random.org is it doesn't, like, it could repeat. It's not, yeah, like BMG said, it's not exactly random. It's just, it can't be random. It's no matter what, it's a mathematical equation, right? So it just can't be. All right. So the wife got home about an hour ago. So she's out there probably steaming mad that I'm still live. So let's just do this right quick. If you haven't yet, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up for me. Altruistic Cynic became a member. Crazy Buy became a member. And the Peachy Viking became a member because I know the Peachy Viking has been around for a really long time. And so, yeah. So 3 new members. That's fantastic. I appreciate all of that. I am going to shut down the server. I think my throat is like, I could probably cough up dust if I wanted to. My Rust PED model is the Kamomo PED. The best way to convert an image to a link is by using ImageBB. No matter the solution, you need to remove the audited server so the number will be down. There won't be any dead zones. Yeah, that's a valid point. Make your wife like Rust so that you can... Yeah, so I've tried to get her to play. Not happening. I don't know what else to do. Naked dudes, naked women. I don't know. I don't understand what to do. My cat is like dying on the other side of my door. Okay, so I got to shut it down. So we join the Discord. Go to discord.srtbull.com. If you want to support what I'm doing at Rust Admin Academy, you go to patreon.rustadminacademy.com or patreon.srtbull.com. Either one works. I do audits. I do server audits on the Friday directly after Facepunch's forced wipe. So that's the first Friday of the month. Give her mod on your server and don't tell her. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I know. He's out there squawking like, yeah, he's pissed. He's pissed that I don't let him come in. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it. I'll have another standalone video coming out next Friday. It's a fun one. I think it's going to be fun. I think you guys will like it. For anybody that wants direct help, you can DM me directly in Discord. You can post in the general chat too. I'm not there very often, but Mabel is there, and Mabel is an absolute god when it comes to answering questions and having the information that you all need. So, blah, blah, blah. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all next week.